Well, we need to do exercises to improve health. There is no question about it. But what exercise should we do? I mean, for a person who is after 50 or 60 years of age, can he go run a marathon? Or should he do just yoga? What about weight training? Is it not just for youngsters and especially boys? Let's talk about exercises now. Broadly, exercises can be divided into three categories. First one is cardiovascular exercises. As the name says, it impacts our heart and our lung. So obviously, all those exercises which involves us panting and gasping for breath would be cardiovascular exercises. The exercises would be, some examples are jumping or running, swimming, cycling, playing a sport, dancing, Zumba. All these are cardiovascular exercises. Cardiovascular exercises are good for heart, right? But then, does it mean that if a person is having a specific cardiovascular condition, would he go ahead and start running like a crazy person to improve heart health? Absolutely not, right? So while cardiovascular exercises are good for improving heart health, we need to apply a lot of common sense while we do these exercises. Similarly for a person who is overweight, say a person who is 10 or 15 kgs or more in terms of weight as compared to his ideal weight range, such a person, if he goes doing a jumping jacks or runs a marathon, it can cause serious issues in the knee, it can cause osteoarthritis, can even lead to ACL tear, etc. So cardiovascular exercises needs to be looked at with some amount of caution. So that's the first kind of exercise. Second type of exercise is resistance training. Any exercises which involves the muscles across a resistance is known as resistance training. Now, one example is weight training or going to a gym, lifting weights. Say if I'm taking a dumbbell and I'm doing a biceps curl, the biceps muscle is across a resistance while pulling this dumbbell. This would cause minor tear between these muscle fibers, and body will rebuild these muscle fibers with better quality and quantity, provided your diet is proper and you're sleeping well and your stress levels and everything are taken care of. This is resistance training. Does it mean that you need a gym to do this weight training all the time? Not really. You can actually do these exercises even at home. Say, for example, if you're doing a push-up at home, body weight exercises, even this is actually resistance training. Now, resistance training is not meant for just youngsters alone. Even elderly people can do this weight training. My favorite example that I keep saying, I remember my grandmother taking buckets of water from a well, and this taking buckets of water from well with a pulley is very similar to what I do in a gym as a seated cable row for my latissimus dorsi muscles or the lateral muscles. This improves the muscle quality. The very interesting thing is that the next day when you touch that muscle, you'll actually feel those sores and pain. This is what resistance training does to it. Improves the muscle quality. When muscle quality improves, the metabolic parameters improve, body will be able to manage glucose utilization in a much better manner. So resistance training has slightly different and better edge when dealing with insulin resistance related lifestyle conditions such as PCOS, say diabetes, acanthosis, etc. The third kind of exercise is yoga. Now, for a person who's just doing weight training, the person may find himself or herself extremely inflexible. I mean, try to touch the feet without bending the knee. It might be very difficult for such a person who's not practicing yoga. But yoga is a lot more than just about flexibility. It's also about connecting the mind, body, and soul. It's also about calming those nerves down, activating the parasympathetic nervous system, bringing that blood pressure down, bringing that anxiety levels down. For all these, yoga will help. Now, among these three exercises, cardio, weight training, and yoga, which is the best exercise? Well, that's a very wrong question that I'm asking. Between these three exercises, each one of it has its own benefits. The idea or the important aspect is to see which is what suits that person's body and helps in managing the condition, medical condition, and accordingly approach these exercises. For example, if a person is having an inguinal hernia, it will be a very bad idea for him to go to a gym and do a seated cable row. Or if a person is having, say, piles, if he goes and does lunges or weighted squats, it might actually make this condition worse. So we need to apply common sense and understand the physical and medical conditions of a person, and then accordingly look into applying which exercises suits that person. Broadly, if you do not have any such medical conditions, God forbid, I would suggest that you include all the three. There is nothing wrong if you like, say, one kind of exercise more, you doing more of that, nothing wrong. Just make sure you are not ignoring the other two. This is how you should go about in terms of choosing the exercises depending upon your medical conditions and depending upon your taste and liking, of course. Now, how much exercise is required? Remember, anything in excess is bad. That is true for exercises also. Exercises are one of the best anti-inflammatory thing that you can do, but excess of exercise is bad. How much is this excess of exercise? According to the American Heart Association, for a person who's been sedentary for 5 years or more, the best amount of exercises in a safe limit to start with is 30 minutes of low intensity to a moderate intensity exercises daily for 5 days in a week. And once that person settles down, becomes comfortable with that kind of a routine, probably can kind of stretch to the next level and gradually go to a moderate to a high intensity exercises from 30 minutes and gradually increase it up to 60 minutes for 5 days in a week. Remember, exercises done in a structured, scientific manner would improve the longevity and make that person feel younger, improve bodily vitals and many other things. But the important aspect is not just going ahead and doing exercises, but doing it in the right manner, right method, and suiting your medical and physical conditions of the body.